Hello and welcome to the Captain's Table, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Paul Berserker01 Batman Shelley, your humble host and space bartender here at the AstroPub, your space bar at the end of Twitch, and your host here at the Captain's Table, your facilitator. For those of you who don't know, this is a podcast where we talk about all things Star Citizen. We tend to use take a specific topic and talk about it. Sometimes we just kind of talk about what's news, what's in the news and everything. But today we're joined by two very old faces, and yes, I'm calling you both old because you're veterans now. And I'm gonna start with you, Naz. Who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen, and where can they find you?
So hello everyone. I'm Nazeris at the Nova Forge. I do streams and videos on YouTube and streams on Twitch till they ban me for multi-streaming. Like that's like my new goal is to get banned by Twitch. I also run the Nova Forge organization, which fun fact, I don't know, not really fun fact. Anyway, today we're actually holding a hiring event at Orison, and we actually have a representative in chat now. So not_bear gaming or gamer something rather. Say hi, Bear. So if you guys want to join the org, contact him and go to Orison after this stream because we'll be in game doing a whole RP hiring event. So that's fun. Sweet. We do basically anything that touches industry plus the guns we need to protect the people who are doing industry. We're trying to fill basically every role. We have only half the leads that we need, so we need a lot of help with that. The type of content I cover is a lot of like deep dives and speculative work. I also co-host the Pathfinders podcast, where we take basically any deep subject and try and go through the entire span of it, and try and bring all of the nebulous information that is in Star Citizen and bring it to you, the masses, in some form that you can actually comprehend in its entirety. So I host that with 30311.
Nice.
Has anyone actually done an iceberg type video about Star Citizen, like a specific topic in Star Citizen? No one talking about?
No,
I do, but I don't think so.
I don't think so. I'd have to build myself a lore iceberg, and I'll do that. I've thought about doing that because iceberg videos are always popular on YouTube. Like they get hundreds of views. So I've thought about
hundreds of views.
Yes, I'm sorry, millions of views. But I'm sorry, I'm staring at my own terrible metrics right now. So, but
just need more videos about big ships. Those do well.
That's how they always do well. Now speaking of big ships and cannot lie, who likes them? We're going to talk about Mr. Darjanator. The Prince of Pluto and Emperor of Uranus himself. Who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen? Where can they find you?
Hello, I am Darjanator, also known as Darj. I am not a content creator per se. I do create things in Star Citizen, primarily stuff for JRDF. If you've actually been on our website, I've done some of the stuff for the Carracks, some of the stuff for the Cyclone and the Freelancer Dur, and a lot of stuff for new things that we are very close to announcing. We have a new social media person. Also, if you don't know JRDF, we are the only licensed producer of Star Citizen model kits, ships, and stuff like that. So yeah, just go check it out at JRDF.se. We have a new social media person now, and we'll be starting actually doing stuff on social media now. Shocker. On Tuesday.
That's great.
Now.
The person they're hiring is very good too. I know who it is.
Very good and very beloved in the Star Citizen community.
Yes.
I cannot say who it is yet until they get more into the role.
I am also under NDA from JRDF for many reasons. I do help with JRDF. Like full disclosure, I help with them sometimes because basically Darj will come to me and be like, "Does this sound right?" or
pretty much.
You know, for lore and stuff for ships that they kind of add into as part of it. So,
you know, like into the instructions manuals, like we have, you know, facts and
Oh, so you don't have any of those cursed Lego instructions where it's like build this with inside this while you're on your head upside down.
I
in zero
have
gravity.
a lot of Lego instructions as a very clear guide of how not to do instructions.
Like, are they auto generated or does somebody actually make those?
They are. Quite a lot of it is auto-generated. It's very assisted. You go in to you say what's the order of operations. You mark up every block individually. You say what the order of operations is, and then it will generate the assembly instructions for that automatically. You don't have to, grab an image, add an arrow, grab another image or another block.
That would take so long.
Because that's what I do. But we have a lot fewer pieces. Speaking of, what day is it today? Is it
Saturday?
18th. Saturday the 17th.
Yeah, okay. Like 3 or 4 days ago, depending on your time zone. It was my birthday, and my best friend just gave me a new a Lego thing. Well, it is a Blue Bricks thing, which is Lego compatible by a German company, and it is the Enterprise D painting from Captain Picard's Raider Room.
Oh,
it is.
Nice.
It is. I can't even.
It's big. It's huge.
It has tens of thousands of pieces.
Damn. Happy birthday, by the way, Darsh.
I'd just be working on it.
I did wish you happy birthday on the day of, but yeah, happy Orbit Day.
I wish I could say more about what's happening with JRDF, but
it's exciting.
It is exciting. Go on to jrdf.sc/social or socials. You'll get links to all our stuff like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Discord. All of that, all the links there. I think primarily we'll do Twitter and Instagram when we start the new campaign. But
okay.
It's so soon. Everything's been confirmed by CIG, so we have a go.
Nice. Everything's got. That's awesome. All right. Speaking of confirmed by CIG, we've got some big things this week. We're not going to be talking about the Santuk Yai, not because it's bad or anything, but because...
Also, thanks for telling me what the topic of today's show is going to be.
I said it earlier. Did you tell me?
No.
No, he wasn't here.
Okay, well, this is going to be a surprise for Darsh. So we get to get the authentic... I'm going to put that in their react. The Emperor of Uranus reacts.
Let me do the face. Screenshot it. Yeah, use that for the thumbnail.
The Emperor of Uranus reacts to the situation. The topic we're going to be talking about, it's not going to be talking about Santuk Yai. It's good. It's not that it's bad or anything. But there was another big revelation that they talked about this week, which has a lot more of an impact going forward. For those of you who know, 320 has confirmed, CIG has confirmed that in 320 they're going to be releasing the Hull C, finally. And
shocked. I'm shocked. Not that shocked.
But the question has been lingering for a while because they didn't announce anything else. For those of you who don't know, the Hull C is designed as kind of like a space freighter. So when it's fully loaded, it cannot land on planets. So it's designed to be able to go from space station to space station to do large bulk shipping. The actual number of SCU it carries is 4,609. And to put it in comparison, the current largest ship for SCU is the Hercules, which holds 600 and something SCU.
No, the Caterpillar has 768.
Oh, there's Caterpillar's more? It says so the Caterpillar has.
Have I been using the wrong ship this entire time? Hold on.
4,608. I'm sorry, I got one off, but close. The point being, several orders of magnitude more than what we currently have. So the question is...
I thought the Caterpillar was 768.
It may have originally been 768, and then they changed it.
Yeah.
So, Chat saying it's 500, which I think that sounds about right as well. But the point being, adding the whole C is going to completely. There's a huge possibilities. We don't know exactly what CIG is planning other than adding the whole C. But today, there was ISC this week, we got confirmation of how the whole C is going to work in game. Now, there's still some up for debate what's going on, but the way it's going to work is you go park your whole C in a station, you go to a trade console, you buy your stuff and set it for your whole C, and then once you've done that, you where's that there? Once you've done that, you leave the hangar, call up the cargo deck, and then go to a designated kind of air zone in space, and your ship will then load up with 32 SU cargo crates over time with a timer. So
looks like about 2 minutes for the full thing.
Yeah, something pretty short. So
darn.
Oh yeah, that's definitely going to be short compared to the like manually loading up crate by crate, even if you have several SRVs helping you.
So the question becomes, first of all, is this a placeholder? Is this timer thing and other kind of things, these placeholders for the actual loading and unloading mechanic? I mean, obviously, yes, but I mean, is this something that CIG is doing because the whole C is there? Or is this something that they did and then they also are doing with like the entire economy? Basically, which came first, the whole C or the cargo timers for 320? So that's my first question. What do you think are we seeing? Did CIG plan out to have the whole C release alongside this sort of mechanic, or was this mechanic invented as a means to kind of crowbar in the whole C into the economy of the current Star Citizen? And I'll start with you on this one, Darj.
It's a good question because they've definitely mentioned cargo timers years ago.
Yes.
So this sort of stepping stone for loading up cargo on the way to fully physicalized cargo, where you have to grab each individual piece separately and load it up into your ship or onto your ship, has been at least considered for a while. I wonder how easy it is actually to implement now that we have physicalized cargo. Whether it was an easy band-aid to coincide with the hull C. It's a good question because I have no idea about game design. You know, I talk a lot about how Star Citizen is made. I have no idea about game design.
But in your opinion, let's just think about this. You think if that's the case, do you think this would be a good idea? Do you think CIG is, if you think about it this way, do you think CIG, do you approve if CIG had basically said, we want to get the whole C out, but the whole C doesn't work with the current mechanics, so we'll just invent something whole cloth to make it make sense?
And do you think that them talking about cargo timers in the past is just a convenient way of enabling
basically
cargo timers now? Well, I feel like for the final thing with the physicalized cargo, at least on the scale that the hull ships require, is going to require a lot more than just cargo elevators that we're getting for regular ships, because you're supposed to be getting that cargo from like the area below the station, where like the jungle of containers.
Yeah.
But those containers need to actually be able to be spawned without them just popping out of nothing. And then they also have to have a way of them. Oh, that's a good sound. I love how you're trying to be so surreptitious about it, but no, you forget to mute yourself, Nazeris.
I purposely unmuted myself. It's fine.
It's you also need to have a way of have a system on the station to transfer those containers onto a waiting or off, so that That means tugs, at least an SRV, if like a smaller, maybe MPUV based tug for a single container at a time, maybe, for instance. But that still is going to require a lot of work. I wonder if in the end none of those containers that are just that are basically occupy the same sort of volume as the rest of the station, if all of that is going to be individually tracked, it's not, none of it is going to be a placeholder, because it'll be all part of the quantum economy
Yes.
of resources that are constantly moving around. Or do you think it's going to be, for instance, just like a lot of placeholder stuff, and then the actual containers that you need are just going to pop up from behind them, and then, like a door is going to open?
I think that secondary is probably more likely, because the quantum economy is always background. It's not really physicalized. It's just more of data points that are transferring from point to point.
And the cargo elevators are also the same thing. Like that inventory is not going to be physicalized until you bring it up and the cargo elevator's door open, and there's your cargo. Yeah,
it's going to be more like a teleporter.
When
you put your cargo elevators on the cargo, your elevator on the cargo, or your cargo on the cargo elevators, and then even if you write it, it'll be like a Wonkavator, where it'll just take you where you need to go and then open up and you'll be there. So.
I don't think they'll allow people to ride the cargo elevators, just so they don't, don't spoil the magic. Because cargo's just going to disappear. Everybody knows this. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You're just going to get despawned, converted into data, and then once you need it back, it'll, reappear.
Naz.
Yeah.
I'll say your thoughts on this is the same question, which is, do you think CIG planned for this to be a thing? Like they were waiting for this cargo timer material, these cargo timer mechanics to be added to the game before they added the whole C? Or do you think that they added the cargo mechanics because the whole C was coming in and they needed something to crowbar it into the game?
I don't think they are putting the whole C in just because the whole C is done, because the whole C has been done for years. Like, it's been done since late 2018 in a majority way. Mm-hmm. And, they've kept it updated, but it's been squadron ready since 2018. When, we heard about cargo timers. And in end of 2019, 2020, the Tony Zervik video came out where he said, hey, since iCache is done, we're going to start putting in the quantum system. And so we're like, okay, so we're going to start getting more and more stuff, because all of that had to shift back because iCache didn't work and because of several other things, pandemic. And we are now at this later stage where we're now on 4.0's door, and Quanta is getting also done as well. So they're like, I've done the math. They have to touch something when the whole C comes in. There is zero feasible routes to do with the whole C. Even if you were to do scrap or something like that is 0.01 credit per SCU, there are no viable places to buy and sell it at the quantity you need for a whole C. So they have to do something to the economy. And I
hoped they would have also announced a sort of like new cargo missions, like we have salvage missions now, maybe like cargo missions that just spawn cargo for you outside of Quanta for now, because we don't know, Quanta is not going to be ready in a state for the sort of amount of cargo that needs to be moved with these ships.
So what I assume is, so a lot of people have been saying that 320 is going to end up being the CitizenCon patch. And as I said last year, I don't remember when, but pre-CitizenCon, I said this last year. Chris loves the shock and awe, the party, the presentation of it.
He loves to be theatrical. Yeah.
What is more theatrical than saying, "Boom, Quanta's in the game"? Like,
yeah.
So we have like we need some version of Quanta for the whole C. We're going Bounty Hunting V2 was mentioned in the first of the two infamous letter from the chairmans as coming very close to 4.0. CitizenCon's 2 days long now. So I think there's something that they're not saying specifically because of the surprise effect, specifically to do with the Hull C, because the Hull C is not only big and has lots of numbers on it, but like it's a cornerstone of the game. Like its lore is the most popular freighter. It moves all of the stuff everywhere. So I don't like they've sat on it for so long. There's no reason why they wouldn't stay on it longer to just let the game catch up. I think this is the hand mining or the Rock DS version of of freight. Yeah, I know. The Rock DS version of freight, that it's a bit awkward, but they need to get this stepping stone in to continue moving down the road of cargo to get the cargo where they actually want to go. They're just going to be a weird, awkward phase as they get it all in there. No, okay. I think it was on purpose.
So you think it was on purpose? And I was going to ask the next question. Do you think we're going to actually see the quantum economy come online with 320? Because, as you said, and I think a lot of people agree with, and we'll see if Darj agrees with this as well, that the likelihood of 320 coming out before CitizenCon is very small, and it's more likely to come out after CitizenCon. Because in the past, for those of you who don't know, CitizenCon patches, when we did live CitizenCons, when CIG did live CitizenCons, were always said to take longer. Chris even just said Q3 patches are going to come after CitizenCon. There's just no way about it. It just costs too much, takes too much time. So the question is, given that likely we're going to see 320 come out after CitizenCon or around CitizenCon, Naz, do you think that this is also going to have the quantum economy? Or at least a bare bones version of it?
Yeah, I think it'll be more than we have, but not the vision yet.
Okay.
But like they mentioned VMPCs being worked on for the past 2 months in the monthly reports. So between 20 and 4.0, I think we're going to get the majority of Quanta, or the quantum system.
I got a brief snippet of how that's going to look a couple of weeks ago. I just arrived at a random station, and half a second later, a mole also almost parallel quantumed in, and we were both traveling towards the same station, like completely random people just arriving at the same spot and then traveling to the station almost in the
same moment.
Yeah, but with Quanta, a lot of that is going to be like just NPCs coming and going. So that is going to be a lot more like lively. Like areas around stations are going to get a lot busier.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's not necessarily the quantum doing that. That would do that, but it's more server meshing side. Because quantum is what the composition of what you're seeing is.
Well, what he's saying is
like that tells
what he's saying is the probability
spawning what to do.
He's talking about the probability,
right?
Yeah, but still, you're not going to have Quanta just be data moving from station to station.
Right,
if there's people at station, their NPCs, virtual NPCs, are actually going to spawn in with ships to travel
even
to
now
the station and create.
We have
traffic.
the dynamic, what's it called, the dynamic population and spawn closets.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what was one of the problems. I just kept spawning NPCs. The quantum informs that system what the composition should be.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason we don't have massive amounts of NPCs walking around is mostly because of server overhead. So to get more traffic around these cities and these stations, I imagine it needs to be smaller servers on server meshing.
Yeah. It's all part of the same.
Yeah, it's a very, very tangled web.
Yeah, no, but systems. To actually have ships coming and going, you would need the quantum system.
Yeah, and I think
doing trade.
Yeah, I think the best CitizenCon presentation that they had was when the Microtech one, where they said, "Oh, by the way, the entire demo you just saw, the patch is up right now.
Yeah,
like go play it, go fly the Carrack, go have fun." Like I think that's something they probably want
to.
The
Microtech skinned Valkyrie and the NPC taxis, that's
Yeah.
kind of missing.
But
Yeah,
but they said the next patch that they're a lot of the tech that they're working on was done. It was like that's what Chris walked up and said it's live. Like he likes to do that with those sorts of events, and it's not the first,
And
not the only time. He's done that many times before. We walked up and said, by the way.
So I imagine that's going to be a lot. I imagine that's going to be kind of the vibe they want to do with this. We're also expecting, what's it called? Squadron 42 something or other.
Yep, possibly.
This time.
Well, it's going to be 2 days. It's going to be 1 day for Star
I know,
Citizen,
right?
1 day for Squadron 42.
I hope they don't spend an entire day on Squadron. That's a lot. That's like there's a going from no information into okay, so now all CCs content creators need to make like the next 6 months of content out of this one day. That's just a lot of work. Like I would very much.
But you are talking about Chris. I am the drama Roberts, so
yeah. But I would much more appreciate they say, "Hey, we're gonna start kicking off the briefing room videos now, and we're gonna do a briefing video live. So we're gonna talk to these people about their thing, and like here are some of the." It'd be really nice if they like take the second day to talk about all the stuff that is coming into Star Citizen from Squadron,
like they did with last year, but actually like more details rather than Chris and who's Chris and Rich talking for 2 hours.
Yeah,
with clips.
Yes, we definitely need Tony Z talk. If Tony Z doesn't show up, we riot.
Love those two.
I like those two, but that was a slog. That was rough. Because it was 15 minutes of footage stretched out over 2 hours, and it's like, all right. Let's continue on to the conversation, though. Darj, do you think that we're actually going to see a piece of the quantum economy coming online with 320?
I mean, we also already have a bit of Quanta in, so they have the system they have something being run by Quanta in the back end already, and if their system is robust enough, I don't see them. I don't see them having a problem adding more and more things, but that is still just tracking of individual items. You still don't see like the ships delivering Kasaba stuff to stations.
But do you think we'll see something like a dynamic pricing system? Where like an actual, like the whole C will actually matter, because at the stations they'll have different requirements. Like the stations will need X number of this resources, so the prices will go up on this resources, or the sell price will go up on these resources because they desperately need to justify like whole C level economy stuff.
I want to say yes.
You want to say yes?
They would have said something already.
So you want to believe, but you don't necessarily
I want
believe.
to believe, yes. Can your editor, put like the poster behind the want to believe poster? Yeah, I want to say yes, but there's just so many things that need to be happening in the game before implementation of Quanta is not garbage.
Okay.
So I think a lot of that is going to be after server meshing, just because it's going to chug the already overstressed game servers down if we suddenly see NPC ships. So just doing regular day-to-day things, not being the Ninetales that are. So we have the Ninetales and we have like the random bounties, but those are individual single ships on a moon or in space somewhere. Not all. Suddenly you have 100 Hull Cs coming to Port Olisar for some reason. How are you going to handle that?
All right. So
for one, you get rid of Olisar.
Yeah. Actually, I wanted to say, is that how you get rid of Olisar? Just hook up the station to 100 Hull Cs and just
have them drag it away.
I would not be shocked if 320 replaces Olisar.
Huh?
Like
we've been using a lot.
No,
Every
they can
patch.
do something worse.
What?
Because because you can actually fly bigger ships into Orison, they could just say, no, we're just going to make you do an Orison because you can fly cap ships there. Don't just fix OSR. Just make OSR like all the others. Just fix it.
All right, so let's go back on to like kind of the economy in general and kind of like trading economy and with the whole sea and such. In your opinion, based off of what you know the whole sea can do you think the whole sea will be a valuable addition to the game in 320, or do you think it's more one of those like check off on the background, the we need to get this done and throw it out to backers so they stop complaining and now they have their ship and we're just gonna we're just gonna discard it. Think of it kind of like which ship was like that? Like a Starfarer or the Reclaimer, where they just kind of pushed them out there because they were done. Do you think we're going to see some actual gameplay with it, or do you think it's going to be just Starfarer 2.0? I'll start with you on this one, Darj.
They better.
They better.
They said we're not putting any more ships out unless they have a role, and they
like just said that 4 months ago, like the last ship roundtable thing. They like just said that.
Yeah, and there better be some justification to have a hull sea other than ferrying scrap from stations to Port All-Star, which is still the only place there's gonna buy it from you in bulk enough. Is Stanton on its own big enough to justify that sort of economy, that sort of volume of material being transferred?
That's the question. Do you think?
Yeah. I don't think it is, but they're going to shoehorn it in.
Okay.
Like it's going to be a couple of materials that Microtech needs at all times, a couple of different materials that Hurston needs at all times. So and that Microtech makes, so then those will be like the always open trade routes between, inside the system. But is it just me, or does that sound a bit boring, just going from one station to another with a lot of cargo?
That's what cargo holders want.
No, they don't. They want complex routes, not A to B.
Sure,
and B
but they
to
want
A.
They want a space trucker. You know where you are. You know where you're going. It's the same route. You know your route. You're professional at your route. This is your route. The next trucker that steps on your route is getting blown out of the sky.
Also, this is a message straight from John Crew. If the hull sea doesn't have an air horn, I'm gonna riot.
It needs an air horn.
When you arrive at a station, you need to go.
I'll put it in John Crew's.
To announce.
I'll put it in John Crew's term. Put a Titan horn on that thing. All right. Put a Warhammer 40K Titan horn, which they have these like wailing, like it sounds like almost like a roar in terms of a horn.
Yes, because space truckers need that.
Yes, we don't care if sound doesn't travel through space. It should travel through my cab, and I should be able to feel it and feel like I'm a big man.
Also, oh god, no! I just realized
it's just open channel broadcast the noise.
Yes.
What sort of size truck nuts are going to need to put on a hull sea for it to
god
into scale?
Storm wall.
Yeah.
Storm wall truck nuts. Yeah. Or made out of storm walls.
Naz, I'll ask you the same question, which is, do you think we're going to actually see legitimate gameplay with this ship, or do you think they're just, it's going to be Starfarer 2.0?
I think that I hope, I guess I'll go with that one. I hope that it is, like the stepping stone to greater things. Like, according to the actual like materials in Stanton is not a mining town.
No.
Resources do not come out of the ground in Stanton. Schubin's been through the place. Like there's no major mining operations in Stanton.
The only major mining operations are Hurston, and they're not mining for anything but themselves. So
Yeah, and so like to give like let's just say ArcCorp, the metal they need to build the engines that they output is not in Stanton. Like the materials at the quantity that these 4 plants need is not in Stanton. So I don't think that this is the final form of the Stanton economy.
Okay.
But I do think they need to get the framework of that economy starting to get into the game so that when Pyro gets on, it can be chunked in and you can get, there's plenty of mining to do in Pyro because it's a dangerous place.
Yeah.
But Shubin's not really there. So it's a lot of independent people trying not to die in Pyro. And
yeah,
it's
but that's
not
going to be
be
a lot of small operations versus one
Yeah.
huge one.
I don't think we'll get the like final framework until we have a major, basically till Terra, Stanton, and a major mining system, to where there's a Shubin station working the system.
Yeah, like Archon and Squadron. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, it's a big part, and they can get a lot of the pieces in for Stanton, and just kind of like fudge the numbers a bit so it can make some sense, like a whole sea worth of titanium, because like these planets can take that, and that's where kind of like the biggest part of that is the resource system. The resource system is what tells the quantum system, hey, ArcCorp needs 1 billion units of titanium because they're outputting, several thousand engines per minute or whatever.
Right, but where is the titanium coming from? It's like
now we don't know.
Like I said, right now it's whatever we have in Stanton, but it will eventually, like I said, the pieces have to be there so they can when the server meshing and the plant content teams can catch up. That they can just say, okay, now we're taking this piece. Titanium is no longer in Stanton, and they just move it to where it's supposed to be.
Well, if you look at Tony Zurvik's demo of Quanta, he could just select a station and say this is now producing this much of a material, and it completely disrupts the entire economy in terms of where NPCs are, where pirates are, and so they have the tools to fudge, for instance, say like this mining outpost on Daymar for some reason is currently producing 10,000 SCU of titanium an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I think also it should come with a much bigger, like a lot more of the things using the dynamic quantum economy, like we have hydrogen, quantum, and was it ammo? Restocking ammo or something?
No, repair.
Yeah.
Repair. There's a repair.
Oh, the repair.
Yeah.
Like if for those who've been playing Star Citizen for the past couple of weeks, hydrogen gets expensive.
Very expensive. Quantum's super cheap.
Ooh.
But
Quantum's still dirt cheap. Yeah, how? Considering a lot of ships can harvest their own hydrogen, and you have like 2 ships that can do quantanium, and it will kill you if you're not fast enough.
I wonder if it has anything to do with that quantanium is the thing to mine, and so miners are running the quantanium a lot more, and so it's feeding back in and keeping quantum at a reasonable level. For those who are industry,
potentially like the amount of quantanium that you mine translates into a lot more quantum fuel just because it is refined and
yeah,
it's a
like for those who run like industry, like mining groups or like industry fleets, the Starfarer actually makes a whole lot of sense. 1, you can get the hydrogen you need. 2, you're not spending you don't have the downtime in the middle of flying, because like moles and anything that's hovering for a long time just eats through fuel. And so having the Starfarer around, just say, okay, we've been out here for an hour. You're half full of fuel now, so let's top you up and let's get you, continue on the mission.
Why don't you just land in a mole? Because you can't aim at the rock.
The 2 side turrets don't work when you're landed. You just go straight into the ground.
Right, that's a thing.
That's a thing. The landing gear is way too short for that ship.
Intentional.
Yeah.
Probably, but like it should warn you. Like it should say, no, I can't, there's no clearance. Instead of just like submerging you into the planet's surface.
Is that how people are hacking into Idrises these days with the mole side turrets?
I don't think so. Last one I saw a couple weeks ago was still just EVAing over.
No, the last one I saw was using the Nomad lowering and raising bed. So that thing has a potential of being the same thing. Although you are trapped in the chair, and if you want to get out, it has to retract. So yeah, probably wouldn't work.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna ask the last question.
You could have a
Anyway,
passenger
tangents.
behind you.
I'm gonna ask the last question because we're getting off on tangents again, and we're kind of wrapping it up on this one.
Yes, of course.
What?
I'm also going to clarify this because there's been some questions in chat. You can't. We've actually been confirmed about this. There's been some confusion based off of the B-roll from ISC, which myself included believed, which was that it sounded like you could buy cargo from stations or the planet and then load it up on the
planet.
Yeah, and then load those up on the actual like stations on around the individual planets. That's not the case. It does not work like that. It is all purchased and sold on stations, on the space stations, and loaded and unloaded on space stations. So, like when you're selling something,
I thought he said specifically that it was go to the outpost, buy your stuff, fly up to the station.
No. They just had, when they were talking about what doesn't work, they just had the hull C hovering above an outpost. But the wording was that you are in a hangar, and the game realizes that it can't load your ship because it is landed in a hangar, which means then you have to fly out of the hangar, unfold, and then call the cargo ATC.
And yeah, the actual the devs actually commented on another video with Subliminal. That one of the devs was on the live stream, and he commented and confirmed, yes, it's just on stations. It was just poor B-roll. So
yeah, which is kind of silly because seeing that behemoth of hovering over a tiny little outpost was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
can you imagine coming into what is it? The let's say Galette Farms with a hull C and just say, I would like to buy 4,000 wheat, please.
Yeah, 4,000 food.
That's another thing. Like more commodities, please.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like
so. I think the reason why you can't go up to a small outpost with a hull C is because the hull is designed to take on the big containers, and those are the 8, 16, 24, and 32 SUs. The 1, 2, and 4 are a smaller format which can be moved around with handheld tractor beams. They're basically the same sort of model, but then they just go up in size. So like the 1 SU is a cube, 2 SU is 1 by 2 rectangle, 4 SU is a 2 by 2 by 1. And then the 8 is all back to a single cube, but just bigger. So the hulls are going to be, because it looks like the grid on the hull C is just sized to take on those big containers. But other ships have the small containers, the ships that can land and load up on those outposts.
And it's interesting that they say the whole C system. So it's something that they've developed specifically to make sure the whole C or the A system recognizes you're landed. So it's I kind of think it might be a interim system because freight elevators don't exist yet.
Yeah. I think
because freight elevators are gonna actually be useful when it comes to the hull C. Like, how many of those containers will be able to fit in a single elevator, and then just keep sending them back and forth?
You'll need a
like
deck.
2,000 times.
You'll actually need a freight deck, like an actual place where you can stage and send those things out.
The video I keep going back to is the Constellation video, the Taurus video.
Yeah.
Because in the Taurus video, the cargo deck that we know now opens up, and he lands inside of it. If you're in a whole sea, it should open up and they'd be flying out to the whole sea.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
That they definitely need to update the cargo deck to match that
And
actual functionality.
The cargo decks have cargo elevators behind those giant doors.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at the ArtStation post for the cargo decks, there's actually a giant internal hallway system that was designed, or at least, somewhat designed. Art's there for it, where cargo moves between all the internal places. So, and also the elevator, the cargo elevator and spawn closets all work the same kind of way. They're not necessarily a size. They could be an elevator or a much larger room that is just marked up for spawning things.
Mm. And then so like these huge doors open with access to all the containers that you could possibly want for the whole sea.
Well, whatever you purchased.
Sure, but that still requires like some sort of rework of the cargo deck, which probably isn't slated for the environment for a while because they're very busy with UGS right now.
Yeah, that's true.
Because the cargo deck didn't have any gameplay when it came out, I imagine they have gameplay for it. They have a system, and they knew the whole sea was coming. And the refineries came out with all their gameplay done. And I've been suspicious what the entire plan was since the beginning. Because they came out as husks. They were just pretty exterior boxes. There have been nothing with cargo decks. They built gameplay for it. I have no doubt for that. So if there's work to be done, I imagine it's just updating. I don't think I fully believe that cargo decks were built with freight elevators in mind.
I'm sure they were. But
Sure,
it becomes.
When was the last time you went to a cargo deck with a friend marker and then tried to figure out where it is on the actual station and then went to it? There is nothing there. It's very low poly, very low detail exterior there.
Yeah, but just because that's the case doesn't mean they can't move it or reposition it. Because
sure, but no, yeah, but but if you're supposed to be able to access the cargo deck from the outside of the station, they would still need to create some sort of section of the station that opens up and delivers the cargo. It's just tying the two, like the interior and exterior, together in a way that's fucking bugs. That doesn't seem hacky, which is what they're finally moving towards with the cargo elevators and with the persistent handlers.
Yes.
And
I think
to be clear, I'll just say this because people might be confused. We're not saying that cargo elevators and cargo decks are going to be making the 320, because that's what we're saying is that they've hacked in a system to make it work with what they have because they don't have those systems online yet.
Yeah, they are literally putting the horse before the cart here.
Yes.
We have the way to make the whole sea work, but we don't have the way to make the whole sea work.
We have a way to make the whole sea function, but we don't have a way to make the whole sea cinematic. So
Yep.
So for now, it's just going to be just randomly spawning containers until they have a way of transferring actual containers from a station to the ship.
I think the cargo decks.
Do y'all think it's a cargo deck issue, or do you think do you think we might actually get tractor beams in 320?
Well,
yes.
Ship-sized tractor beams, definitely, but station-sized tractor beams?
Well, there's not that much difference, right? It's just a matter of scale, of what.
Yeah.
It's just what does X do X? Because if a ship size, we're gonna have an SRV. An SRV can haul ships, so.
But like an SRV is too big to just be hauling a single container at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So you would need like a smaller one that's basically just like a worker bee in Star Trek, just like a cockpit with tractor beams. So like a hovering rock. Oh God, like a space rock.
Yeah. Asteroid.
Yeah, that's what that called.
That's just what it's called.
Great Asteroid. That's great. Space Force.
So it's gonna be an Argo STROD, something like that,
Oh
and
my
that's
gosh.
Yeah.
yeah, and that's what they have to do like a backronym from that.
But I'll ask the last question before we finish off the question, finish off the main discussion segment and move on to the question and answer section. And I'll start with you on this one, Naz. Is this overall a good thing or a bad thing that we're seeing the whole C being added in game? Would you have rather them hold it off until absolutely everything was in place, or would you rather see that whole C release with these temporary systems?
My mouse over here now. And possibly my keyboard. Cat, move. I think it's a good thing. Like, as much as I will try and convince you and convince everyone and try and convince me that this was perfectly planned and nothing can possibly go wrong, I want my whole C. I've been waiting a long time for it. Like, there's
to
definitely
piggyback to a previous thing. I think when it comes to them not introducing new ships without roles, I think they're more likely talking about creating new ships.
Yeah.
The whole sea has been on the back burner for over 5 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And they also
So-
released the was it the
raft.
C2, which is supposed to carry the raft. No.
The raft's the same thing.
The raft does not be spoken in these walls. So they released the C2, which its main job is to transport the tank, but there's no gameplay for the tank.
They're having a second tank.
Yes.
And yeah, having a second tank. But hopefully, I'm really hoping that they have a plan for UGFs to be a assaultable place on ground. I'm really hoping,
and also a place that produces and buys a lot of cargo.
that's that's right.
Mhm.
Yeah. But like, I definitely think there's at least some. Hey, this thing's been done. We can polish it up for the resource system because it's already polished. It's already gold standard. We can just spend a couple weeks on it to get the new gold standard, which we saw in the B-roll. There are now new fire extinguishers in there, so resource management was put into this ship.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I saw that. I thought it was like, what are those things on the walls? They kind of look like backpacks. Nope, fire extinguishers.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh God, it's gonna be the first ship to catch fire. At least it's not Drake.
no, that's the 600i.
The 600i will be.
Oh.
That's what they've been using. All the burning stuff was on 600i assets. So
Yep.
Yeah,
'Cause
this
they-
is
Like
true.
that is the test ship. I think they
Wood.
said it's only going to come out with a couple of ships first. The 600 is one of the first ships that ever lit on fire.
Yeah, but I'm guessing that's like the new 600i rework, the interior
Mhm.
that's being done
Mhm.
with the, I guess, fire standard in mind.
the fire
gold
standard.
the burnable standard in mind. The I'll ask you the same question, Darsh. Is this a good thing? Is this is it actually going to be bringing meaningful gameplay, or is this just a way to shut up backers?
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. If they can create some sort of, even if it's hacky in from the get go, sort of backend to drive the economy, and it's not just scrap. It's
Okay.
also other materials from different locations. But then again, you only have like 4 locations.
Plus Lagrange,
True.
because
True.
scrap is done
There's
at
re-
Lagrange points.
Sure. And the Lagrange points are the refineries, so sure.
In
a
theory,
lot, in theory, there
In-game
should be enough of not incentive, but enough of justification for there to be a hacky sort of economy with a lot of raw materials being transferred from one location to another. I think Galag and other sides like that are gonna have a field day when this sort of thing comes in. But we still haven't heard any confirmation that it actually is going to be in the game like that.
Yeah.
So I hope it is, because I hope at least someone higher up at CIG is thinking like, okay, we have this ship that can transfer thousands of SCU of material at a time. Do we have thousands of SCU of material at a time to be transferred?
Mm-hmm.
Answer: currently, no.
Currently, no. So
No.
let's do something about it, please. I hope at least someone at CIG.
I mean,
had that
between
notion.
what was it? The lead vehicle guy is John Crew, right?
Yes.
Okay. Between John Crew not wanting to put out non-gameplay ships, and obviously Tony Z wanting the economy in yesterday, and all of the like higher ups, all of
Decades
the
ago, he's been working.
Yeah.
This has been in his mind's eye for decades. Yes.
all of the leads and higher ups executives that we've heard from would like to have it done rather than not done. So I can't imagine that they like, let's just put out the ship that doesn't do anything again. That seems like a great idea. Like, I can't imagine anyone would sit around the table and like, yeah, that's a good idea. We should put out another Husk. Just
No.
like, and the fact that they showed it in ISC, filling up with cargo, which means there's got to be a cargo, at least one cargo run.
Sure, yeah, scrap.
No,
That's what they showed. It was scrap on the on there. That's what he bought.
I know it was scrap, and I got really scared. But like, I really think that they're holding something for CitizenCon with the economy, with resource management, with something.
They will. They're going to have to trade something because you can't buy and sell scrap from station to station and make a profit. The only way you can sell scrap is at ground locations. So there's going to have to be.
And
some
who are
sort
you
of
selling
change.
it to? Why are you selling scrap to them?
Yeah.
Like, sure, Hurston has all those like foundries, but like, are they really refining scrap to get their metals? And like, a lot of ArcCorp stuff is higher end metals.
Hurston wouldn't be, but I feel like Microtech would be one of those societies that at least tries to be
Recycling?
more.
Yeah, but they're not like building
into
things with
recycling.
scrap.
They're not
They're building
Scrap
like
is-
computers.
But scrap is a source of materials. You have any idea, even today, how much gold there is in recycled electronics?
That would mean they have to expand what scrap is, because currently scrap is like known as a material, specifically like a homogeneous amount of metal.
Yeah,
because
it's
they kind of like
munched whole.
Yeah, they like scrap is not anything specific, so it would have to be either. So maybe that they like expand the scrapping kind of definitions. So you around these Lagrange points, they're not just giving out scrap, but now we have a percentage of these actual named materials coming out of them.
Yeah, so it would then it would kind of be like mining, which like it's still a rock, but it can have different percentages of materials in it. So you see scrap, but then you throw it into a refiner, and it's like 10% titanium and 5% steel.
Yeah,
and,
like they already
and
mentioned they want to do
7%
something
aluminum.
like that, especially for hull munching. But like even before the salvage gets there, at least Lagrange points start producing these things.
Could be. So you can actually
Because
pick them
like
up.
that's where the salvage goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it could be like the hull munched scrap. You sell it to a refinery at a Lagrange point, and then it produces like pure ore, not pure ore, minerals,
Titanium,
materials.
gold,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Elements. That's what I was looking for.
Yep. I think that's a great system.
Yeah, it would be if there were if there's also then on the other hand, buyers for all that pure material.
Gold goes to Microtech, titanium goes to ArcCorp, whatever.
Gold goes to Hurston. Who do you think is going to make all those
Hurst-
statues of?
Hurston is definitely going to have a gold demand.
Yeah. Is it Jebediah Hurston or
something like that? If I remember his full name.
He has a biblical name.
Yes.
Yeah. But like who's gonna what are you going to make more statues of that person from?
Gold.
Copper,
bronze?
and then paint them gold. They're
That still
insanely
requires-
cheap. What do you mean? The Hurstons, they don't build the statues in place. They build them in a garage so that you don't see that it's actually like concrete. And they just painted gold on it.
Gold on it. Anyways, that's going to be it for the discussions, and I always want to hear your thoughts down below in the comments about. Do you think that what are we going to get? Do you think the CIG? Are you jaded and cynical and believe that CIG is just trying to cash in on the hype for whole seas? Do you think that CIG actually has a plan to do something in between? Let me know in the comments. We, of course, join us live on Saturdays at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, where we talk about this live, and you can come ask your questions live as well, because we're going to be rolling directly into the question and answer session. I'm going to kind of do this kind of quick wrap up. But for those of you who are live or listening to the podcast, you'll hear us roll right into the next set of questions. So if you want to ask your questions to the cast, feel free to join us live here. And make sure you check out Naz at the Nova Forge. Make sure you check out jrdf.sc to help out Darj. And like I say every time, hope to see you someday in the black.
Like, you think we're